This proposed project has the ability to unlock the true potential of northern Canada and give Canada something it's never had before, which is a deep sea port on the Arctic Ocean. The proposed Grays Bay port and road has been a northern dream for decades, and now the project has refiled for environmental assessment with authorities in Nunavut, restarting a process that has been stalled for years. This long-awaited project would see an Arctic deepwater port and road connecting the mineral-rich regions of northern Canada to international shipping routes. And thus, it has the ability to unlock the future potential of northern Canada. So let's take a few minutes to discuss the Grays Bay Port and Road project. This is Ali, and welcome back to Urban Atlas. For decades, Canada's northern territories have struggled economically despite having access to many mineral resources. And part of that is because of a lack of infrastructure in northern Canada, as well as a lack of a port on Arctic waters. And in addition to economic reasons, there's also military and defense reasons to build out this project. And that's what the project includes: an airstrip and a tank farm to be constructed at the port. And in today's political climate, I don't think it's a bad idea to invest in defense and military spending when it comes to Canada's northern regions. The Grays Bay Road and Port project is actually a transportation system that, once completed, will connect the rich mineral resources of Canada's Slave Geological Province, which straddles the Nunavut and Northwest Territories border, to the Arctic shipping routes at the Northwest Passages. The project consists of a 227-kilometer all-season road linking the northern terminus of the Tibet-Convoito Winter Road to a deep-water port at Grays Bay on the Northwest Passages. And in theory, the development of this project and infrastructure will stimulate private investment in the Western Arctic regions, encouraging the development of resource projects that will be able to transport a range of commodities to export markets throughout the world. And this project will finally connect Nunavut to the national highway system and rail systems in the Northwest Territories via the Tibet-Convoito Winter Road. And most importantly, in doing this will develop the first overland connection between Canada and a deep water port on the Arctic Ocean, something that Canada has never had in the past. And the Grays Bay port will further serve as Canada's first and only deep water port in the Western Arctic, which is actually located strategically at the middle point of the Northwest Passage. Now, taking a step back and looking at it from a macro level, we can see that this is potentially a transformational project with national significance that will help define northern economic development throughout the 21st century. The project will help to bridge the significant infrastructure gap that the Canadian North currently faces. And the project has the ability to improve the quality of life in these northern Canadian communities, which currently face significant barriers to regional and economic development. The project is split up into two phases. Phase 1, also known as Segment 1, is the core project. This provides a highway originating in Jericho in Nunavut, traveling all the way up to Grays Bay on the Arctic Ocean, strategically located in the middle of the Northwest Passages. This will connect to the existing Tibet to Convoito Winter Road, thus connecting Nunavut to the existing highway system. This would be the first road link from the central Arctic coast to the rest of southern Canada. There are several large deposits of zinc, copper, gold, and silver that would be made economically feasible to mine because of this project. Phase 2 of the project is set to be a secondary extension of the original project, with a 95-kilometer road originating in Jericho and heading all the way to the Northwest Territories border. The good news is that the project is being coordinated through a working group composed of the government of Nunavut and the Kitikmeot Inuit Association, meaning the construction and project will be managed by both the territorial government and the local Inuit Association. Now, feasibility studies have shown that this project will yield a range of significant benefits to both Nunavut residents as well as other Canadians. The biggest benefit, in my opinion, is that this project has the ability to boost Canada's GDP through infrastructure-induced northern resource development. Over a 15-year period, the project has the ability to raise Nunavut's GDP by a total of $5.1 billion and Canada's by a total of $7.6 billion. And in doing so, it has the ability to stimulate new mineral exploration and development activity in Canada's northern regions. But besides the benefits from a macro level, there's also significant benefits that can take place at a micro level. You see, projects such as this have the ability to generate significant amounts of employment. And this is especially important for northern residents in a region that currently suffers from a high level of unemployment. Another benefit that may become increasingly important as time goes on, especially in today's political climate, is the fact that this project has the ability to strengthen northern sovereignty, safety, and security. This is becoming increasingly important in a time where countries such as the US are failing to recognize Canada's claim over the Northwest Passages. Thus, the importance of this project is amplified for Canada because it provides access to infrastructure for federal government departments and the Canadian Armed Forces, which will play a key role in making sure that the Northwest Passages remain Canadian internal waters. Another major benefit is that this project has the ability to connect Nunavut to the rest of Canada and the world through a road link for the first time in history, thus providing Nunavut communities with access to goods and services from the Northwest Territories and beyond via a new overland route. In addition, one of the most important benefits that we see with infrastructure projects such as these in isolated areas is that they improve food security and they reduce the cost of living, because infrastructure projects such as these improve access to goods and services for previously isolated areas. In addition, this project will significantly help grow the city of Yellowknife. You see, as of right now, if any goods have to leave Yellowknife for an international destination, they have to either access the Pacific or the Atlantic Ocean, both of which are thousands of kilometers away. This project will help connect Yellowknife with shorter access to tidewater and commercial shipping routes in the Arctic Ocean. Now, we've discussed many of the benefits, but of course, with any projects like these, there are some drawbacks. You see, building transportation infrastructure in remote areas is very costly, and this project will be no different. Total construction costs are varied, but they range anywhere between $500 million to $1 billion. And this is why the government of Nunavut and the Kitikmeot Inuit Association are actively seeking the support of the Government of Canada to help build out this project by contributing up to 75% of eligible capital costs. In addition to its extremely expensive price tag, there are many critics of the project. Stakeholders such as the Kugluktuk Hunters and Trappers organization actually call this project a road to nowhere that would not benefit local communities. The same organization says it does not support the project because of its impacts to local fauna, and they highlight the potential impacts of the project to the local dolphin and Union caribou populations, which are already at a critically low level. You see, the project would take place in key caribou calving grounds, the protection of which is very important to ensure future healthy caribou populations. They also highlight that other roads in Nunavut show that caribou do not like crossing roads, and that projects like these could potentially isolate caribou populations. The Caribou Guardians Coalition in the Northwest Territories echoed the Kugluktuk Hunters and Trappers organization, stating that the proximity of the project to caribou calving grounds increases the risk of illegal harvesting along the road. The government of Nunavut and the Kitikmeot Inuit Association claim that the project will work to mitigate any potential impacts of wildlife and marine mammals. As of right now, the project is still in the environmental assessment stage, which will investigate any potential effects to wildlife and marine mammals in the area. It is extremely difficult to predict the timeline of such projects. But if I had to guess, I would say that the environmental assessment and any potential permits that need to go along with the construction will likely take up to 2027 to 2029 to be completed. And if all goes well, we can expect construction to begin sometime around 2030 or 2031. Construction is expected to take at least 5 years, with operations starting around 2035 to 2036. Despite the critics of the project, I think it's a net positive for Canada, specifically for the region of Northern Canada, which has been underdeveloped and underutilized for decades now. In addition, it will help connect Nunavut, which has been isolated, through the rest of Canada. And it will also help provide a military presence in the Canadian Arctic, which is a region that will become increasingly important in the next few decades. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this project. Do you support this project or are you against it? And as always, if you like content like this, remember to subscribe to my channel. If you guys like the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.